Hanael flies at Mach speed to reach Jae-ik as soon as possible. Jae-ik's classmate gets extremely annoyed as she sees Hanael. In the past, the girl was walking through the streets, and in her opinion, that day was supposed to be the day when she could get close to Jae-ik by fate. Jae-ik, a freshman student who happened to be in the same class as her, he was really her type. She noticed that he was coming and thought that today she will really ask him to be friends and hang out with him. But since he cut through the alleyway, the girl decided to take the other side of the alley, hoping that she will get to meet him. She spotted Jae-ik, but then she noticed Hanael saying that she will become his new classmate. It made her really angry when she saw another girl suddenly appearing out of nowhere and sticking with Jae-ik like that. After that, Hanael introduced herself in front of the class and sat beside Jae-ik. Since then, Hanael and Jae-ik have always looked occupied with each other. She waited for several months to try to get close to him, but the girl, Hanael, who randomly appeared suddenly, took the seat next to Jae-ik and now is acting like she is close with Jae-ik. Presently, she decides that she won't let Hanael monopolize Jae-ik anymore as she jumps higher using the body of the gangster as a trampoline. Meanwhile, Hanael catches Jae-ik from the back. She tells him that they have to get out of here and offers to help him. Jae-ik says that he thinks that it's impossible because the absorption power of this light is too strong that not even he can get out of here. Hanael replies that it's precisely why she will help him out. She pulls him backwards with all her might, but it doesn't seem to be working. At that moment, the girl in the pink jacket appears and grabs Jae-ik by the leg. She declares that she will be the one to save him, but the absorption light starts to work faster and pulls them quickly. Jae-ik shouts, telling both of them not to pull him from both above and below. Down on the ground, Iriel is praising and complimenting himself, saying that it's been a while since he has gotten a field mission, and to think he actually did such a good job is absolutely praiseworthy. He includes that if it wasn't for Azracel's interference, he would have done it more neatly. By the time he looks at his back, Azracel is already running towards him. Azracel collides with Iriel by saying that if he has failed, Iriel should fail too, and both of the twins enter the absorption light. Iriel shouts that if both of them go like this will bring their demise. Meanwhile, all of the people have been transferred to heaven. What's happening? Dad, why are you lying in that state? Jae-ik asks. The gangster grabs Jae-ik's head and lifts him up. The gangster asks whether he is Lead Jae-ik, who crippled his brother Ushi-jim. Jae-ik replies that he has never crippled anyone while coughing. He says that Ushi-jim is someone who is like an angel, and since Jae-ik made him into a mess, he can't hold myself back. At that moment, the higher-up angels start to talk using the statues. The angels say that there are a lot of people who got caught, and it's rather unexpected. What the hell is that? It's scary. Have I died and gone to heaven? However, was I really a person who's supposed to go to heaven? The gangster asks while being puzzled. Both Iriel disguised as Azracel and the real Azracel make their entry. Iriel, so you've come yourself. Would you care to explain this situation right now? The angels ask as they demand to know the answer. Even the angels get confused to see that there are two Iriels. Azracel announces to the Supreme Council that he is the real Iriel. Those statues are the Supreme Council? Why do they look shabbier than I expected? Hanael questions. Jae-ik's classmate states that they look more like speakers in the shape of statues with a clear sound output. The Supreme Council angels say that this is not important to them now. They just demand to know who is the apex hybrid among them. Upon grasping the situation, Hanael shouts, telling them that there is no apex hybrid among them, and all the people here are just ordinary humans who tried their best to live their life. On the contrary, this speech of Hanael makes him believe that people who tried their best to live go to heaven. Then, the Supreme Council wants to know Hanael's identify. Hanael introduces herself as a lower-grade angel. The council informs that if she is a lower-grade angel, she shouldn't have any reason to be here. Hanael thinks that an angel should never lie. But this time, just once, she will do it for Jae-ik. She makes up a lie and says that she is currently on a special mission. As Iriel was looking at Jae-ik from the start, Hanael shouts that this kid is just an ordinary human. He has no strength nor wits. He's just a human without any spark in him, while pointing at Jae-ik. Jae-ik tells her to stop because her acting feels too real. Well then, should we give them a test? The Supreme Council asks. They announce that they will see who's the real Apex hybrid. Will it be the one chosen by them, or will it be the one chosen by the Archangel commanders in the arena that no one can escape? The chosen candidates, Jae-ik and the gangster, are standing inside the arena facing off against each other. It naturally turned into a row of seats. Is it the Wailing Wall? Azra'el asks while both of the brothers are watching the match from above. Iriel replies that this will be the first big match in a long time after the fight of Seraphim versus Baal. The Supreme Council says that if what these Iriels said is true, then one of them must be the Apex hybrid. The council declares that the last one standing in this inescapable arena will be regarded as the Apex hybrid by them. The gangster smiles as he says that there's no reason for him to escape because he was going to find Jae-ik himself anyway, and to think Jae-ik would appear in front of him on his own 2 feet. It really makes him happy as the gangster gets ready for the fight. At that moment, Hanael shouts, telling Jae-ik that he should escape because it's a trap. Azra'el speaks up, that both Jae-ik and his opponent will never be able to escape from that place until the fight ends, and there is no way to help Jae-ik now, since this is a duel that the Supreme Council is holding. Are you saying that those talking stones are the Supreme Council? Hanael questions. Azra'el informs that although those statues look quite pathetic, their body alone can destroy the whole earth easily. That's how strong they are. With them here, this match will be the most sacred ceremony, and they will never let anyone interfere in this match. Iriel states that they are just the bystanders, seated here to witness Jae-ik be awakened as the Apex hybrid while sitting comfortably. Azra'el suggests them to watch this match where the outcome is already very obvious of who will be the winner. But once they know that Jae-ik is the Apex hybrid, wouldn't they definitely take him with them? Hanael shouts. Both Azra'el and Iriel sink when they answer that it's obvious that they would take Jae-ik because it was his destiny ever since he was born, LOL. Why are we so sickeningly compatible? Both of them think. They got along so well that it feels unpleasant to them. Look at her expression. She must think that she could save the whole world by herself, pretending to look cool alone without any conscience. Ha! Eunji! Jae-ik's classmate shouts while trying to seize Hanael's attention. On the contrary, Hanael uses telepathy to talk to Jae-ik. She begs him that he must hide his power, and he can't let them find out that he is the Apex hybrid. Meanwhile, without understanding the situation, she shouts from afar, telling Jae-ik to give his all in this fight. Jae-ik grasps that once he reveals his power, those statues will definitely lock their eyes on him. And once they find out about him, his ordinary life will be done for, though he realizes that his life hadn't been ordinary to begin with. The gangster rushes towards Jae-ik in order to punch him. He says that this is the punch of a real fight, and even before Jae-ik realizes, he would have turned into a monkfish. He states that he will make Jae-ik lie down next to his beloved brother Ushi-jim. As the gangster was about to punch, Jae-ik, due to his apex reflexes, changed his location swiftly, in mere moments. The opponent gets shocked as he can't perceive Jae-ik's movements. The gangster tries countless times to hit Jae-ik, but none of the attacks landed as Jae-ik dodges them perfectly. The gangster says that he is sure that he definitely hit Jae-ik, though. Yoonji gets astonished as she says that he couldn't notice any of their movements, while Hanail couldn't catch on the movements of Jae-ik only. The Supreme Council says that this battle is weird. They notice that Jae-ik is amplifying his power instantly the moment he uses his power. However, they can't sense any sign of awakening from any of them. Iriel smirks as he praises Jae-ik for being clever and for using his powers while dispersing them. Azracel replies that he expected that much. "You wouldn't listen to me even if I asked you to stop this, right? Don't keep dodging. Stay still, will ya?" The gangster shouts while being frustrated. Jae-ik tells the gangsters that since he will eventually exhaust his stamina if he keeps attacking him, Jae-ik will try to follow his opponent's rhythm. Jae-ik then realizes that if he keep instantly increasing his ability, the Supreme Council will probably notice. So he decides to use his skill, the time efficiency, and starts to move slowly. The twin brother notices that Jae-ik is using time control. Azracel explains that in the split of 10,000th of 1 second, Jae-ik will move quickly, and then he will use the time left to move slowly, so the statues won't notice. Iriel adds that it's an amazing cheating skill. The gangster says that Jae-ik is fast, and he guesses that the only one who'll be able to beat Jae-ik is Ushijim, and realizing this, his respect for Ushijim has increased one more time. Moreover, he says he has no other choice if his opponent is too powerful. So, he decides to show Jae-ik his hidden skill, which he hasn't used in such a long time. Suddenly, his speed increases as he says that people might mistake his name for a foreigner, but his real name is Hanma Bak, which means when a person is within a Hanma, which means 1 yard, and within this limit, his fist can quickly reach that person. He smiles as he says that it's a shame that this time his fist definitely touched Jae-ik's hair. Hanail explains that Hanma was a measuring unit used in ancient times, and was about the width of an average person's outstretched arms. Yoonji replies that though it's ancient, her father still uses it. Hanma Bak says after going through special training, he can also reach 2 yard, and this time he could also feel Jae-ik's clothes. Mabak then starts to attack Jae-ik several times. The Supreme Council says that Mabak's movements are surely befitting of a transcendental human class. But why can't I sense any sign of awakening from him? The councilman asks himself. He says that even with the resolution of their camera, he still can't see it, so it must be a frame drop problem. "Can you see it?" Azracel asks Iriel while standing. Iriel explains that in the eyes of ordinary people, Jae-ik would look like he's only dodging swiftly. However, with above-average vision, Jae-ik would look like he's taking a stroll around Hanma Bak. The Supreme Council understands that at this rate, they won't be able to get any victor today, and in the end of the day, the victor is definitely the Apex Hybrid. So they declare that for the duel to progress further, they will reduce the area of the arena. As a result, the ground starts to shake and they hear many explosions as if it's a bombing attack. Hanma Bak gets traumatized as he says that he doesn't want to be captured and he never fought anyone. Iriel says that the council is using a handicap match, so he guesses they learned a lesson from the previous match with Baal versus Seraphim. At that moment, Jae-ik's father wakes up, but not perfectly. He says that he realized that Iriel's voice seems familiar to him. "Excuse me, are you perhaps the person I had a conversation with?" Jae-ik's father asks. As Azracel again gets the chance to steal Iriel's identity, he introduces himself as Iriel, the Archangel Commander. Jae-ik's father apologizes that he couldn't recognize his excellency. Iriel shouts that he is the real one and tells the angel that he is apologizing to the wrong person. The Supreme Council declares that now that your opponent is within grasp, they should prove themselves. Hanma Bak decides that now that there is only 1 yard, so with this much area left, he will do a sneak attack and charges straight at Jae-ik. He grabs Jae-ik from behind and pins him down with immense body power. He fully overpowers Jae-ik by grabbing his full body. Han Ma-bak states that finally, the right time has come to dominate his opponent. Han Ma-bak says that no one has ever gotten out of his hidden skill, and if he just puts in more strength, Jae-ik's spine will definitely crack. But in the next moment, he gets shocked to notice that rather than being nervous, Jae-ik is actually calm. He didn't even move slightly and in fact is looking more comfortable. Ma-bak uses his ultimate move, the spine breaker. He says that this is his killer move and he will be sending Jae-ik off soon. What the hell? Are we really in a match? Why can I only feel his warmth? Ma-bak asks while being puzzled. Jae-ik gets up along with Ma-bak while saying that he guesses that he can't keep playing like this any longer. Ma-bak then realizes that all this time Jae-ik has been playing with him. In the next moment, Jae-ik flies and reaches a position above the statues. He announces that he is indeed the Apex Hybrid, and if they want, he can also show them his awakening. He releases his extreme mana and starts awakening, and Ma-bak gets pushed back. The pressure inside the room increases as the awakening rate increases. As Ma-bak is falling, he grabs Jae-ik's legs to survive. Wow, how high is the number that came out just now? One of the members of the Supreme Council asks. Another member replies that the rate was something that goes beyond their sensing range. What is he doing? Exposing himself just like that? Hanael asks while being worried. Jae-ik demands to the Supreme Council that they should now send back his comrades to where they were abducted. Moreover, he says that regarding the matter wherefore he was brought here, his answer is no. Hanael shouts from a far distance, telling Jae-ik that he is doing great by refusing them. The Supreme Council tries to persuade Jae-ik by saying that he is an asset that has been invested and managed by heaven. So it's only natural for him to return to heaven. Jae-ik replies with a straight face that he isn't obliged to answer that one-sided nonsense of theirs, and he just wants to go back to his ordinary life. Iriel asks, as he wonders whether the Supreme Council will accept Jae-ik's opinion. On the contrary, Azra'el smiles and says that things are getting quite interesting. After hearing Jae-ik's opinion, the Supreme Council gets furious, and the statues start to shoot laser beams from their eyes. They declare that one who refuses the fate written by heaven is nothing but a traitor, and they have zero tolerance for such individuals. You called me a traitor for not following you, huh? What kind of logic is that? Jae-ik questions as he deflects the laser beams with his elbow. The higher-up angels say that if Jae-ik denies the virtuous values, that only means that he is no different than evil, and as an angel, their ultimate mission is to obliterate all evil. Jae-ik replies that if that's the case, then that's even more of a reason for him not to follow them. He simply answers that he refuses to follow such a line of fate while deflecting the laser beams with both of his hands while Ma-bak is still hanging. He clearly understands that he will be doomed if he falls from here, so he has to hold on tight. The angels state that a talented individual who refuses to be tamed is evil, so they tell Jae-ik that he should behave accordingly as the asset of heaven. The statues change their trajectory of the laser beam, and Jae-ik is facing a bit of difficulty to face these quickly launched attacks. Ma-bak's hands slip and he starts to fall. Meanwhile, Hanael rushes towards Jae-ik in order to give him some backup. Jae-ik warns her not to come, yet Hanael rushes there and uses her Omega shield. Jae-ik informs her that she can't stop their attacks using this shield. The shield scatters and both of them get pushed backwards. Hanael hits the wall while Jae-ik collides with Ma-bak. Jae-ik asks Hanael whether she is fine or not. But then he notices that due to the impactful collision, the wall has started to crack and his father is on top of the wall. The wall breaks and his father starts to fall. Hanael shouts, telling Jae-ik not to worry because she would protect his dad. Jae-ik gets serious as he states that he plans to take responsibility for his own life and act according to his own values. So, he tells them not to judge people based on those excessive one-sided rules. Meanwhile, Iriel comments that he didn't know that Jae-ik could speak that well. The Supreme Council says that it's expected from the Apex hybrid to even make the stone pedestal shake by his words. Shall we confirm whether he can bear the responsibility just as he claimed? They ask while releasing clouds. The angel explains that this is the atonement cloud. If one is without sin, it will feel as light as a feather, and if one is a sinner, it will feel heavy according to one's sins. For a dignified one, this cloud could be their savior, and on the contrary, a sinner's soul will be buried in hell for eternity. Jae-ik grabs the tail of the cloud and asks whether there is any problem with him. Iriel again comments, saying that Jae-ik is indeed the Apex hybrid and a perfect being. At that moment, Mabak also touches the cloud in order for his own safety, but due to that, the weight of the cloud starts to increase in an instant. The angel says that it's just as he expected, and now even Jae-ik won't be able to handle it because he's probably out of control. So he tells Jae-ik that that's why he needs to follow the oracle. Jae-ik shouts that it's not his fault, while Mabak says sorry because he's a guy with a lot of sins. Meanwhile, Yoonji wonders what she should do for Jae-ik, or else Hanael will take all the score. The Supreme Council asks Jae-ik whether he will be able to withstand the weight of the sin, or will he crumble under the sins of others, unable to attain forgiveness? Jae-ik clenches his teeth and says that he can bear this much sin himself and he can still endure it. These words coming out of Jae-ik really touched Mabak's heart, and he thinks that Jae-ik is a real man, a kind person, and at the peak of a noble. At the next moment, Yoonji gets a wonderful idea. She jumps as she says that since she is innocent, she can surely reduce the weight, and the only thing she could be ashamed of is that she really likes Jae-ik. On the contrary, Jae-ik gets tensed by seeing Eunji in action. He tells her that that's not how the cloud system works. He yells at her, telling her not to jump in,